Hey everyone, this is Kyle, and today we're talking about the screwdrivers you need to open a Gamecube controller. Okay, first thing I want to talk about is the quality of screwdriver. The cheap screwdrivers are fine if you're in a pinch, but the higher quality ones will make your screws last longer because they actually hug the slots of the screw very well. So if you plan on working on controllers or frequently opening your own controller, then I highly recommend getting quality tools if you can afford it. The Gamecube controller has 3 screw types. For the 6 shell screws, you're going to need a Triwing screwdriver. Technically it's a tri-point, but you'll need a Y2.5 or a Y3. There's also 2 different types of shell screws. For the older controllers, the screw slot is a lot more thin, and so you can get away with having a pointier screwdriver. The Smash 4 and the Smash Ultimate controllers actually have a wider screw slot, and so it's harder to open them unless you have the right screwdriver or you apply a lot of pressure. Generally, you'll want a screwdriver with a wider tip because it can easily open all the shells easily. A little too much easy, like your mom. So my top screwdriver recommendation for the shell is the Wera Microsticks Precision Screwdriver. The Wera Microsticks screwdriver is hands down the best screwdriver I've ever used, along with the other screwdrivers for the other parts, but we'll get into those in a minute. I've used it to open many controllers over the last 2 years, no signs of breaking anytime soon, and it hugs the screws perfectly. All types, is fantastic. The downside is that it costs $20, but it's very worth it if you plan on working on controllers or if you plan on servicing your own controller frequently. Definitely highly recommend, and you will not strip your screws. The other option is the WLXY tri-point screwdriver. It's sold by Cadano, one of the grandfathers of controller modding. He sells them on his website, but this one does have a pointier tip, so it will not work as well for the Smash Ultimate and the Smash 4 controllers. But if you have an older controller with the thinner screw slots, then this controller will also work well, and it's significantly cheaper than the Wera screwdriver. But he does ship from Austria, so if you're in the US, you will need to consider international shipping. The budget option that will have all the different types of screw heads that you'll need is the AXTH Small Precision Screwdriver Set. Precision. Don't know why I couldn't say that word. Say hi to the camera, kitty. It's sold on Amazon. It's normally $10, and it'll give you all the different types you need for the shell, the trigger guards, and the stick boxes. But if you're in a pinch and you need quick shipping or you're on a budget, then definitely pick one of these types of kits up. Just make sure it has the sizes that you do need, and we'll get to the rest of the sizes now. Okay, trigger guards. These are the softest screws in the controller, so definitely pick a good screwdriver to work on these because they are the most easily and most commonly stripped screws in a Gamecube controller. A quick note before we get into the screwdriver size: the Phillips screws on Gamecube controllers are actually JIS, which is a Japanese standard, and so they're subtly different than a Phillips screwdriver. Phillips screwdrivers will work with them, but they don't fit quite like they should. You can't really find JIS anymore, so we're stuck using Phillips or screwdrivers that are compatible with both. There's only a few brands that I know of that actually make them compatible with both JIS and Phillips. One of them is Wera, the other is Weha. I don't fucking know how you say it. Those are the 2 like go-to standard brands that are high quality, and they will fit your screws very well. And the size you're going to want is PH1 for the trigger guards. And like I mentioned earlier, the Wera Craftform Micro Phillips Precision Screwdriver is the one that I use. The other option is the Weha Pico Finish PH1. It's sold by Cadano as well. He's the only source that I know of where you can find Weha screwdrivers available to ship in the US. I haven't been able to find anything else. But also, he's done so much for the community, it's just worth supporting him. And then, of course, the budget option is the screwdriver kit I mentioned earlier that will have all the sizes that you need. Hey, congratulations, you made it this far in the video. All the people that clicked out after 30 seconds, they don't get to know that the secret call out is posting 69 in the comments. If they read the comments, they're gonna be confused, but you're gonna know what's up because you're cool. And if you want more Gamecube controller and probably more retro gaming content, feel free to subscribe. because I plan on sharing all my knowledge about GameCube controllers. And if you're in the market for a modded GameCube controller, or you need some replacement parts, go to mayhem.shop, where we sell fobs, we sell modded OEMs, and starting soon, we're going to be selling original brand new replacement parts. So when you wear out stuff on your controller, you can replace it. And you'll have a reason to use your fancy screwdriver kit. So again, mayhem.shop, and let's get back to the video. Okay, stick boxes. So with GameCube controllers, there are 3 different models of stick boxes, depending on when the controller was manufactured. Luckily, a lot of the controllers have the newest revision, which is the T3 stick box. And the way you can tell you have a T3 stick box is by looking at the back of your controller on the stamp behind the C stick. If it has the little circle that's pictured right now, then it has a T3 stick box. Or if you change out the shell and you're not quite sure, you can open up the controller, and if the stick box has a plastic housing, that means it's a T3 stick box, and it's screwed onto the motherboard, whereas the T1 and the T2 stick boxes are soldered on, and they are definitely not quite as durable, so just worth noting. So obviously you can only screw on the T3 stick boxes, and it's the same thing as technically JIS, but you're going to want a Phillips PH0. And again, we've got the Wera PH0 screwdriver and the Weha PH0 screwdriver. If you want to just worry about getting Wera for the internal parts and not the shell, then it'll be $10, which isn't bad for really good screwdrivers. Seriously, they're worth it. They're so good. And then obviously, again, the budget option, screwdriver kits that you can find on Amazon for cheap. Now let's talk aftermarket screws and mods. The most common aftermarket rumble bracket is made by Fires, and it screws into the controller board as opposed to just being snapped in, which makes it way easier to work with, especially if you're new at controllers. But it requires a Torx T5 screwdriver to be able to unscrew your rumble bracket. There's also the Fires Torx screw kit, which replaces all the screws with Torx, which is a more durable screw, so it's less prone to stripping, and also more common screw types. The cheap kits would probably work pretty well with Torx. You don't really have to worry about stripping as much with these. So the size for the screw is the T8 Torx, the size for the trigger guards is the T6, and the T5 is for the stick boxes, which is the same size as the rumble bracket. Some people do replace the shell screws with Phillips, and the PH1 screwdriver will fit those. Yep. And typically the budget kits will have the Torx sizes that you need, but you can also buy the Torx screwdrivers from Wera. And again, I'll have everything linked down below in the description. Now you're a professional on GameCube controller screws. You know everything you need to know. So get out there and start screwing.